Oh boy, the Dorito Pope Jeff Keighley. Man, I hope it was worth it. What's up guys, HMK here once again, and let's talk about what happened last night at the Game Awards 2019. Now before you guys start twisting my words or anything like that in the comment section, it's not about, oh, Breath of the Wild 2. Yeah, Breath of the Wild 2 wasn't there. Oh, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC number 5 wasn't there either. Of course he's ranting, he's mad. Yeah, that's why. You know, honestly, I was expecting. I really was expecting. I was just like, maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. I was expecting Smash and Breath of the Wild to be there. They weren't there, and to that, I will take my L. I hope that's that. Yeah, I'm taking my L on that. I'm holding that. And that's not particularly why I feel so sour for this show. Like, of course, that helped it. Like, that really put the nail in one of those coffins for that boy. But honestly, I was expecting, and I feel that my expectations weren't overbloated because I was literally going by what they did last year, and the fact that Jeff Keighley was hyping up the Joker reveal. He's like, hey guys, remember the Joker reveal from last year? Be sure to tune in at the Game Awards and stuff. And I'm like, well, alright, you know, full circle. And the fact that Smash DLC Fighter 5 is supposed to be out before February this year. Not this year, but like 2020. It's basically 2020 at this point. And the fact, you know, all that. And then also for Breath of the Wild 2, I feel like my expectations weren't overblown, because every time the original Breath of the Wild was at E3 2014, 2016, and 2017, the Game Awards always had something to show on the heels of Breath of the Wild being at that particular E3. So the fact that Breath of the Wild 2 was at E3 this year made me go on and like, okay, Breath of the Wild 2, the Game Awards. They're buddy, they got a home. I guess not. But it really, the rabbit hole goes a little bit more down like that, and I really have to get my feelings out on this year's Game Awards because it definitely was one of the weakest I've seen. The last time it was pretty weak was 2015, and I'm pretty sure the only thing that saved that show was Uncharted 4, and that show was just not doing it for me. And the fact, and you know, there's people on Twitter that are like, oh, criticizing a Game Awards show. It's a Game Awards show. Well, this Game Awards show, the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley, he keeps marketing this show and prides itself in, oh, it's going to be the biggest night in gaming with world premieres and announcements that you don't want to miss. And this year's show was lacking. Now, to be fair, to give all credit where credit's due, there were some bumping announcements at this year's Game Awards. My particular favorites were No More Heroes 3, Final Fantasy 7, which we both know about, and Ghosts of Tsushima. I keep saying Ghosts of Tsushima. You know what I'm talking about. That new game from Sony with the samurais and stuff. That looked really cool. But to be fair, once again, that was a continuation of a trailer that we saw at the State of Play, which I felt was a bit more competent this week. And of course, the huge reveal of the Xbox Series X. It's literally a box. Now, I'm like, that reveal was actually pretty bonkers. And I honestly thought that should have ended the show. And all the other reveals felt very, how's the best way I can put this? It felt very casual, safe. And I feel that Jeff Keighley is now going back to, like, he's reverting back to his Dorito Pope phase, where he's trying to meld the casual audience a little too much into the regular gaming audience. And, you know, people need to understand that the reason why the Game Awards got so big is because of these huge announcements. I mean, yeah, Game Awards are cool. Not the Game Awards, but Game Awards show are cool to watch, but they don't pull in a lot of viewers. They really don't. You know, because a lot of people are like, okay, what won Game of the Year? They rather just go read it than watch an actual Game Awards. It's cool to have recognition within the industry and have that show for them and stuff, but the Game Awards has gone beyond that, and it's something like Jeff Keighley would say, a huge celebration in gaming. And this year was just, they fucking ended the show with a Fast and Furious game. Vin Diesel was their huge surprise guest to reveal Game of the Year, and then they also, with Michelle Rodriguez there, they announced Fast and Furious Crossroads. And, you know, love or hate Fast and Furious, the franchise, wherever it pulls in a lot of money, I can see why they wanted to do that and stuff. But, like, the game itself didn't look good. And this is not just like, oh, I hate Fast and Furious. I actually go watch the Fast and Furious movie. I think they're pretty, like, adrenaline rushed and stuff. But that's my movie love versus my game love. And I see that game, and that game did not look good. And that was your big ace in the hole for this year's show. Then to put it into perspective, all right? Remember, this is beyond Smash and beyond Breath of the Wild for my personal feelings. To put it into perspective, the Game Awards had some massive, huge announcements years leading up to this one. Their 5th! This was their 5th anniversary, and this is what they had in the past. They had Super Mario Maker. This is games previously known or revealed at the show, right? At multiple years. Super Mario Maker, Breath of the Wild, multiple times. Metal Gear Solid 5. Bloodborne, Witcher 3, Uncharted 4, Mass Effect Andromeda, even though that game turned out to be Prey, Halo Wars 2, Death Stranding, Bayonetta 3, Dreams. They announced Soul Calibur 6 at one of these shows. Alright, Metro Exodus, Sekiro, which won Game of the Year, the Joker reveal from last year, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. I honestly thought that series was dead. Alright, Mortal Kombat 11, even though it got leaked beforehand, Dragon Age, what's up with that game? What happened to that game? Crash Team Racing, and Outer Worlds. That's just to name a few. There's a lot more announcements and stuff throughout the lineage and legacy of the Game Awards and stuff. And the past 3 years, from 2016, 17, and 18, those 3 shows were hella strong. And I'm like, I was setting myself up for like, okay, the last 3 years were bonkers. Jeff Keighley, bring the noise. And you end the show with Fast and Furious. The show should have ended with Xbox Series X. That would have just like... And that goes down to the point I'm trying to say, multiple points I'm trying to say, is that this year's Game Awards, the pacing was off. Where you should have put the announcements was off. It had announcements, not a lot and as substantial and as varied as last year's show. And that really boils down to the point where, like, it's weird because a lot of people are like, oh, just wait for E3. But, you know, E3 is not really going to be E3 next year. It's going to be weird. It's going to be a festival instead of an expo trade show. So that's really weird. And I feel that developers and publishers are taking back the fear. They're literally taking back their power in terms of announcing things their way. Because, you know, Nintendo Direct started the whole thing. And then, remember, at the same time, magazines also did this as well way back in the day. But Nintendo Directs literally shifted the focus of, you know, why should we bring something there to this show when we could do it ourselves? So State of Play started happening. Inside Xbox started happening. And then, you know, other individual developers that don't really have a huge publisher like Nintendo, Xbox, Sony, whatever, they literally drop trailers sometimes to be their own drum, because we live in a day and age with content creation, and, you know, people who will like specific series such as Kingdom Hearts will literally be the heralds for that specific series or game company. Like Square Enix, they can literally drop Kingdom Hearts trailers whenever they want to, and it'll be fine for them in the long run. So, you know, when it comes to the whole idea of, wow, all eyes are on this show, maybe they should show this thing at this show. And that's kind of like, you know, that's part of the reasoning why I'm like, okay, Joker was a huge deal last year. Joker stole the show last year, right? That reveal was bonkers, right? And all eyes were on Joker on that reveal. And now we're at the next year, where DLC Fire 5 is still unknown, but it's supposed to release before February. Joker was the first DLC character shown off, first Fighters Pass DLC character shown off at the Game Awards, and we already have 4 characters out. There's only one left for the first Fighters Pass. You would think they would go full circle and do that with all eyes on them, especially considering what happened last year, but no. So, you know, Nintendo is probably going to end up revealing DLC Fighter 5 on their own time. Well, a lot of people are thinking that there's going to probably be a January Direct. And also consider the fact that Nintendo themselves tweeted out this show, and they had no first-party title announcements at this show. The only things tied to Nintendo that I can think of on the top of my head was No More Heroes 3, Bravely Default 2, there's probably more, but I'm just not having it. I'm not. But it's like, you know, these announcements, and I stress this again, they had some big announcements, but some compared to the other show. And the fact that, you know, ads keep on going, a lot of people talked more, and apparently Jeff Keighley and the rest of them rehearsed this show like for a week. or something, and just, the announcements, some of them overstayed their welcome, some people on the stage overstayed their welcome, and, the last part of the argument when it comes to the Game Awards, it's the Game Awards, you should just expect the Game Awards, it's the Game Awards. More than half of the Game Awards, more of half of the actual Game Awards were shoveled off rapid fire outside the main stage. So when you use that argument, I'm like, did you see the show? Like, did you? It's just the pacing, what they had in store for this year's Game Awards was exceptionally weak. It was too weak. And a lot of people are saying, a lot of our content creators are feeling the same, and a lot of them are giving pretty good, insightful takes on this. Is the reason why we're saying that, the Game Awards is because they had the backbone of huge, varied, awesome, earth-shattering announcements, right? And when you take that away, or when you take some of that away, the light shines on the weaker points, the weaker, finer points of the show itself, and then you start noticing, and it's just like, And at the end of the day, I'm not too mad about the whole ads thing, because they had to find a way to pay for the show somehow, right? They're like, Samsung is now a partner for the Game Awards, and they're promoting the QLED TV, which they did a lot. And I'm like, I'm not too mad about it, because someone has to fund all this, But at the same time, I felt that at this year, we finally got the idea that values were lost along the way when it comes to the biggest night in gaming, and I wasn't down for that. I had fun last night, though. I honestly did, because all my friends came over. We had a good time. You guys were in the chat, over 1,000 of you guys were in my chat, and thank you all so much for showing up to the show. But I'm allowed to criticize this thing, because we can criticize any other thing when it comes to, there are people who criticize the Nintendo E3 Direct and what they showed at E3, the state of play and stuff like that. When there's an event that promises big announcements, and we feel that we don't deliver, or the flow of the show was just, we're allowed to criticize it. And in that case in point, might I remind you of what happened at the VGX? Remember the Spike Video Game Awards? The Spike Video Games Awards, for those who don't know, were literally the precursor to the Game Awards, right? And the last ever time they did that was the VGX. And if you guys remember the VGX, that wasn't it, Chief. And then next year, Jeff Keighley took that, went off without Spike, and basically recompiled it as the Game Awards the next year, right? So when we talk about the finer points, what we don't like, Jeff Keighley, I hope you're listening. You had a streak. That streak is not looking too good right now. And for those who are like, you're just complaining just to complain and stuff, no, when we complain, he hears it. Because remember that time when he showed off, what was it called? No Man's Sky. Remember that whole conundrum with No Man's Sky? And when the game finally came out, we were like, what is this? Jeff Keighley took it upon himself in order to create a show, literally the year after that, or the year of that, I forgot, to create a show where they relied a lot more on actual gameplay than CGI. And in order to we understand what we did, what we had in part of when it comes to No Man's Sky, so we're going to do that. All right. So, honestly, Fast and Furious, I'm so burned by that. That was literally their ace in the hole. Really. Xbox Series X should have ended the show. All right. There was just a massive waste of potential, and I feel that the viewer count is probably going to be at, higher than last year's show. But man, a lot of people online are soured about this. So, 2020, you better bring that noise. All right. Because this year's was just not it, Chief. It really wasn't. But I want to know what you guys think in the comment section. Leave what you think about this year's Game Awards. Honestly, everything that was shown off there, I could have read. The only thing that was just was Xbox. So leave your comments in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, favorite. Most importantly, subscribe to HMK. I put out more content every week. So until the next rant, until the next announcement, until whenever they decide to show DLC Fighter 5 and Breath of the Wild 2, this has been HMK. Remember, for that, I take my L. I take that L. I'll hold that. So until then, This has been HMK, and I'll check you guys out.